In 1893, Chicago hosted the World's Columbian Exposition, a world's fair that showcased humanity's greatest achievements and launched the city onto the global stage. Yet today, many communities within that same state are grappling with a legacy of decline so severe it feels like they've been left behind in a forgotten history. Welcome to Across the United States. Today, we will be taking you through an eye-opening journey into the Prairie State with our video, 10 Worst Cities to Live in Illinois. This isn't a tourism pitch, it's a cold dose of reality for anyone with a stake in their future. If you're a young professional hunting for a solid job market, a young family searching for a secure place to raise your kids, or a retiree hoping for peace and stability, or you just want to know more about Illinois as a state, this is your ultimate relocation guide. We're tackling everything from soaring crime rates to devastating population exodus and economic decline. This video will uncover the brutal truth about the cities you've heard about, but might not know. Trust me, you'll be surprised by what we found. Let's get started. Number 10. Decatur. Your car stereo just went silent. What gives? Welcome to Decatur, a city grappling with an undeniable reality. The local economy, once a powerhouse anchored by industrial giants like Caterpillar, is facing a slow and frankly relentless decline. It's a place where the old factory lights are dimming, leaving behind a profound sense of what used to be. The city's struggle is more than anecdotal. The numbers tell a stark story. Decatur's population has decreased by 3.4% since the 2020 census. While its metro area unemployment rate was 5.8% in early 2024, this still reflects a long-term challenge, with the city losing more non-farm jobs than it's gaining. This translates to a difficult landscape for a young professional searching for stable employment opportunities. The city's poverty rate is nearly 19%, significantly higher than the national average, which further highlights the economic hardship. The housing situation is a masterclass in irony. The median home price in Decatur is around $117,000, a seemingly fantastic deal for a young family looking to get on the property ladder. But you have to ask yourself, why is a house that cheap? This isn't a hidden gem. It's a reflection of low demand and a shrinking tax base. The very low cost of living is a siren song, but it's bait for a trap. A cheap mortgage won't matter much if your employment opportunities disappear or if your kids' schools are underfunded. For retirees, the peace and quiet might seem appealing, but they risk finding fewer and fewer amenities, from grocery stores to healthcare, as the population continues to shrink. The city is in a state of stasis, where the promise of a peaceful life is overshadowed by the reality of a town that feels like it's slowly fading. So, do you think a low price is worth the trade-off for a shrinking job market and a city where the primary industry seems to be nostalgia? Number 9. Hodgkins. There are more moving trucks here than people. What are they all moving? Hodgkins has a peculiar problem, and it's not a secret. This tiny village with a population of just over 1,400 people has one of the highest property crime rates in the entire state. Its property crime rate of 10,295 incidents per 100,000 residents is one of America's highest, and nearly 440% of the national average. The reason is a strange one. Hodgkins is basically a massive logistics hub that happens to have a few houses. Its sprawling quarry shopping center attracts millions of visitors, but more significantly, the town is home to the world's largest package sorting facility, which processes 1.6 million parcels a day. The crime isn't random. It's a direct consequence of the millions of people and thousands of vehicles passing through a tiny town with little residential community to act as a buffer. For a young professional looking for a place to settle, Hodgkins offers proximity to the job opportunities of the Chicago area, but the trade-off is living in a village that feels more like a rest stop. The local social scene is defined by what's in the industrial parks, not a true sense of community. For a retiree hoping for a quiet, peaceful life, Hodgkins is the opposite of that dream. The constant noise of trucks and the elevated crime rate can seriously diminish your sense of security and peace. The median household income is $63,000, but this doesn't capture the economic disparity that exists. The small population feels disproportionately affected by the chaos of the commercial world. The village's website might talk about family values, but in reality, it's a property crime magnet. This is a perfect example of a town where your living experience is dictated by what's passing through, not by the people who call it home. Number 8. Chicago Heights. The city's nickname should probably be Caution Heights. Chicago Heights is a city that has been on the top of the list for a very dark reason. A violent crime rate that is significantly higher than the national average. While some crime statistics can be difficult to pinpoint with up-to-the-minute precision, the city's historical data, consistently placing it among the most dangerous cities in Illinois, speaks volumes. For perspective, the national violent crime rate is around 381 incidents per 100,000 residents, a figure that is often dwarfed by the violent crime statistics of this city. Situated uncomfortably between Chicago's volatile South Side and the struggling urban landscape of Gary, Indiana, it's a perfect storm of economic hardship and entrenched urban issues. For a young professional, the close proximity to Chicago might seem appealing, a chance to get an affordable home with a quick commute. But the reality is that the safety concerns could easily outweigh any convenience. The city's poverty rate is nearly 25%, and its unemployment rate sits at 6.8%, a clear indicator of a place struggling to find its footing after decades of industrial decline. For families, the challenges are especially daunting. The idea of children playing outside safely is a luxury in many of its neighborhoods, where abandoned buildings and boarded-up homes are a common sight. The constant threat of violent crime and the general feeling of instability make it a difficult place to raise a family, where you're always looking over your shoulder. Even for retirees looking for a quiet place to settle down, Chicago Heights offers little in the way of peace. The high crime rates and lack of well-maintained public spaces make a tranquil retirement feel like a distant dream. The city's official history may celebrate its past as a prosperous industrial hub, but the present tells a different and far more challenging story. It's a poignant reminder that a city's past successes don't guarantee a bright future. You have to ask yourself, is a short commute worth a daily dose of apprehension? Number 7. Zion. While this city on Lake Michigan might seem like a peaceful suburb, it has a serious systemic issue with low-performing schools and a stagnant job market. For a family, the decision to move here could have long-term consequences for your children's education and your financial well-being. According to recent state test scores, only 4% of students are at least proficient in math and 6% in reading. For parents, this isn't just a statistic, it's a major red flag about the future of their kids. It's a place where you might think you're buying into a solid school system, only to find yourself in a constant struggle to supplement your children's education. The low performance of the schools has a domino effect, leading to a general feeling of decline and making it difficult for the city to attract new businesses and residents. But the struggle doesn't stop there. While Zion is home to some major employers, the local job market for residents is far from booming. The city's median household income is around $62,500, which is significantly lower than the state's median of over $80,000. With a poverty rate of 16.54%, which is higher than the national average, it's a difficult place for a young professional to build a career. For retirees, the beautiful lakefront might be a draw, but the lack of a robust, stable economy and the challenges facing the community can feel unsettling. It's a place where the foundation of public services and schools is a constant source of concern, and the tranquility of a lakeside view is often overshadowed by the anxiety of a community in flux. The decision to live here begs a serious question. Is it really a good place to live if the future of the next generation is at stake? Number 6. Danville. The jobs disappeared, and now so are the people. What's left? Danville's story is one of economic decline. The town has endured the loss of a Quaker Oats facility, a General Motors factory, and many other long-standing employers. This has, unfortunately, led to a population exodus and a rise in crime. In early 2024, Danville faced an unemployment rate of 6.3%, which was higher than the national average at the time. For a young person looking to start a career here, you might find limited opportunities, as the primary industries are now focused on manufacturing and healthcare. a far cry from the town's once vibrant industrial past. With a median household income of just over $44,000, it's a difficult place for a family to build a stable economic footing. A significant portion of the population, over 25%, lives in poverty. The foundation of the community is crumbling, and the struggles of its residents are a direct result of decades of job losses and a slow, painful economic transition. The city's attempts at revitalization are a work in progress, but for many, it's a tough place to build a future when the present feels so precarious. Even for retirees, the promise of a quiet life is often overshadowed by the very real challenges of a town in flux. While the city's crime rates have reportedly shown a decrease in recent years, they remain high compared to national standards, and the general feeling of decline can be palpable. It's a poignant case study in what happens when a community's economic engine stalls, and the ripple effects are felt across all demographics. We are halfway through and heating up. Hit that like and subscribe button. Stay with us to see our number 1. Number 5. East St. Louis. Is it possible for a city to be more known for its problems than its potential? East St. Louis consistently tops lists for its high murder rate and general crime. With a small police force and a large number of abandoned buildings, the city struggles with drug-related offenses and a general sense of neglect. This isn't a place that's struggling. It's a place that's in crisis. The city's struggles are rooted in decades of economic collapse and a shrinking population. Once a bustling industrial center with over 80,000 residents in the mid-20th century, its population has plummeted to just over 17,700 residents today. With fewer people and a declining tax base, the city has been left with a skeleton crew for a police force and public services that are simply stretched too thin. The high violent crime rate, which often includes one of the highest murder rates in the country, is a stark reality. For a family, the challenge of finding a good school and a safe neighborhood can be overwhelming. The poverty rate for residents is close to 32.5%, with over 49% of children living in poverty, which is 3 times the state average. This kind of systemic hardship affects every aspect of life, from education to personal safety. The sheer scale of abandoned buildings provides a backdrop for criminal activity and a sense of profound urban decay. Even for a young professional looking for a low cost of living, the risk is simply too high. The lack of a stable economy, the elevated crime rates, and the general feeling of hopelessness are too big of a hurdle to overcome. For a retiree, the dream of a quiet life is replaced by the anxiety of living in a place with limited resources and a very real sense of danger. The city's small population belies the scale of its issues, making it a very difficult place to live. Number 4. Kankakee. Ever wanted to live in a town that sounds like a broken drum? Kankakee, this city south of Chicago, has been struggling for years, and it shows. Once a thriving industrial hub with a bustling downtown, it is now a shell of its former self, with a significant number of vacant buildings and a persistently high unemployment rate. The crime rate, particularly violent crime, is a major concern, making it a difficult choice for young families hoping to find a safe and quiet place to settle down. It's a place where the echo of a once vibrant past is the loudest sound you'll hear. The numbers don't lie. While the city's overall violent crime rate has been on a downward trend, it still reports a higher than average rate for violent crimes, and is known for its high murder rate, a stark reality for its just over 23,000 residents. The unemployment rate in Kankakee County hovers around 4.4% as of June 2025, a number that is still a significant concern, and this economic struggle is directly linked to the community's persistent social problems. With approximately 28% of its population living below the poverty line, the city faces a daunting climb toward economic stability. For a young professional, the lack of career growth opportunities is a significant deterrent. The local job market is dominated by healthcare, manufacturing, and retail, which, while essential, don't offer the kind of high-paying, dynamic careers that attract new talent. For a retiree, the low cost of living might seem appealing, but the peace of mind is often compromised by the realities of crime and limited public services. The city is a poignant case study in urban decay, where the struggles of the economy have bled into every aspect of community life. Number 3. Harvey. The city's financial woes are so bad, you might not get a police officer if you call for one. That's not an exaggeration, it's a very real concern in a city that's been on the brink of bankruptcy for years. Harvey is a city in financial crisis, which has a ripple effect on every single one of its just over 20,000 residents. The city's financial troubles are deep-seated, rooted in decades of mismanagement and a declining tax base. Recent reports highlight a staggering $149 million in debt and a significant amount of unpaid commercial property taxes, a burden that falls on the shoulders of the community's working-class residents. As a result, the city has been forced to make painful operational adjustments, including laying off municipal workers. For a place where a retiree depends on reliable city services, this is a serious concern. The inability to fund the police and fire departments properly means a slower response time to emergencies and a heightened sense of insecurity. The struggles of the city are reflected in its residents' economic realities. The median household income is just over $41,000, and more than 25% of the population lives in poverty. This financial hardship, combined with a consistently high crime rate, which includes a murder rate far above the national average, creates a truly difficult environment. It's a place where the infrastructure is crumbling along with the city's budget, and the consequences are felt by every single resident. Even for a young professional looking for a low cost of living, the lack of a stable economy and the challenges facing public services are a serious deterrent. For families, the fear of calling for help and not getting a timely response is a very real source of anxiety. It's a sad reality that Harvey's name is now synonymous with fiscal distress, a poignant case study of a city struggling to rebuild from a place of fiscal dishonesty and neglect. Number 2. Matteson. So much for the safe suburbs, huh? Madison, a village just south of Chicago, has seen its suburban dream turn into a suburban nightmare. The closure and subsequent demolition of the once bustling Lincoln Mall created a gaping hole in the local economy and tax base, leading to a domino effect of decline. This isn't just about losing a place to shop, it's about losing a central hub that anchored the community's financial stability and identity. While Matteson was once considered a quiet, middle-class haven, the area has seen a troubling rise in crime. The narrative of a safe, convenient suburban life is a hard sell when the foundation is cracking. The property crime rate in the village is well above the national average, with a particularly troubling rise in motor vehicle thefts. This is a daily source of anxiety for residents who chose the suburbs for security, not for the constant worry about their vehicles. The economic issues are a serious concern for every demographic. For a young professional, the lack of economic dynamism and the sense of urban decay make it a less attractive place to live, even with a commute to Chicago. While the village boasts a high median household income of about $98,600, this can be misleading. A closer look reveals a poverty rate of 9.4%, which, while lower than many other cities, indicates a significant segment of the population struggling. The departure of major retailers and the slow pace of redevelopment for the Lincoln Mall site have created a challenging environment. For young families, the struggles of a community with a declining tax base are a major red flag for the future of schools and public services. Even for retirees who may have bought homes here decades ago, the decline of the community and the potential for falling home values is a serious concern. The city's officials have been actively trying to fix things, with plans to redevelop the Lincoln Mall site into a new town center. However, the sheer scale of the challenges, from a stagnant tax base to the very real crime issues, makes for a difficult road ahead. Don't let the suburban facade fool you. Matteson is a perfect example of how an economic blow can unravel a community. Number 1. Cairo. Once a bustling riverport, now a ghost town. How does a city just fade away? Cairo is a poignant example of a city in a state of terminal decline. What was once a key transportation hub at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, a place so important it was even a Union supply base during the Civil War, is now a sad testament to urban decay. The population has plummeted from its peak of over 15,000 to just over 1,400 residents today, a staggering decline for a city that once held such promise. This mass exodus was the culmination of a perfect storm of challenges, including devastating floods, shifts in the transportation industry, and most powerfully, a long and tragic history of deep-seated racial tensions. The human cost of this decline is palpable. The Department of Housing and Urban Development once referred to it as a dying community, and for good reason. For a young person looking for opportunity, Cairo offers virtually nothing. No jobs, no career paths, and no real future. For a retiree seeking services and peace of mind, the lack of a proper hospital and until recently a grocery store is a constant source of anxiety. Imagine living in a place where a medical emergency requires a half-hour drive and daily necessities are a trip away. The city has lost most of its businesses and public services. The infrastructure is crumbling, the streets are often deserted, and the echoes of a once vibrant past are all that remain. The poverty rate stands at over 21%, with a median household income of just about $3,500 to $400. It's a very difficult and sad place to live. A powerful case study in how a community can be eroded by both economic and social forces. Ultimately, this video wasn't about bashing cities but about empowering you with the unvarnished truth. As your relocation expert, my goal is to give you the facts, not just the highlights, so you can make an informed decision on relocation. What do you think of our list? Are there any cities you'd add or remove? Thank you for watching and for being a part of the Across the United States family. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.